Greetings, everyone. Well, sometimes I get requests. Someone sees something in one of my DVD overviews or whatever and requests, that I do a video giving a closer look at it. Sometimes I get a lot of requests, and I relent almost immediately and happily fulfill the request, giving an in-depth look at whatever the set happens to be. And then other times I get a lot of requests, and I say I'm going to do it, and then I sit on my ass for the better part of a year and a half, and do nothing. Well, not that I do nothing, but I do nothing with that particular request. This is one of those times. A while back in April of 2008, I of course did a complete overview of my DVD collection. I've been meaning to do an updated edition for ages, I just haven't got around to it yet. And then I reposted that old overview as a high-definition upgrade. And there's one set in particular that appears in the very first part of that overview, the Uber Boxed Sets collection, that I've had more requests for than I think anything else. And there's also the fact that it recently went out of print, so people are now even more eager to get a look at it and see what they're missing, I guess. What am I talking about? Well, ladies and gentlemen, the Urkin invasion has begun. I am, of course, talking about the deluxe boxed set of Invader Zim. And that's what we're going to talk about today on the Multimedia Chronicles. Welcome back. Well, this one, I've had so many requests to show, so that's what we're going to do this time around. The funniest request I got, well actually it wasn't a request, it was a comment, was somebody saw it in the background of one of my videos and asked if it was the Full House Complete Collection, because the Full House Complete Collection comes in a box, well, a house-shaped box as well. Yeah, I don't know, somehow I don't recall the Full House looking anything like this, but yeah, my response was, ye gods, no. Full House is probably the set I would least want in my collection. God, I hated that show. I hated that show so much. That and Saved by the Bell. I know a lot of you out there are Full House and Saved by the Bell fans, but I just hated both of those with a passion. I thought they were badly written, badly acted, and not funny at all. But that's another story for another time. We're talking about Invader Zim, which is very funny and anything but bad. Now, Invader Zim was produced in the early part of the new millennium by Nickelodeon and was the brainchild of independent comic book writer and artist Jonan Vasquez. Now, prior to Invader Zim, the only thing that Jonan Vasquez was really known for was some kind of underground comic books, namely Johnny the Homicidal Maniac. This is the collected edition. Squee, which actually takes place in the same universe as Johnny the Homicidal Maniac. These are all the first printings, by the way, the individual comics I have. I used to have the individual comics of Johnny the Homicidal Maniac as well, but funny story behind that. There was this really hot goth girl that I knew that I really wanted to get together with, and thought, hey, surefire way to her heart would be Johnny the Homicidal Maniac. So I lent her all 7 issues of my original Johnny set. And then I moved. This was in Toronto. Then I moved from Toronto to British Columbia and never saw or heard from her again. So, Sarah, if you're out there somewhere, hope you enjoyed the free set of Johnny comics. Hang on to them. They're early printings and are probably valuable now. Yeah, I'm not bitter. Oh, and did I ever get with her? No, I wasn't there long enough. Just as things were starting to develop, I moved, and that was it. And I also have I Feel Sick, which is also a spin-off with some of the same characters in it. Great stuff. So, the thing is, as you can probably tell from looking at those covers, Johnny the Homicidal Maniac, Squee, and I Feel Sick aren't particularly intended for children. I mean, yes, they have kind of that fun, silly, cartoony, exaggerated characters look to them, but the subject matter is very intense. It's very deeply philosophical and loaded with social commentary. It's very gory and violent, and there's F-bombs all over the place. I mean, these are not comics for kids. So it kind of begs the question, what the heck was Nickelodeon thinking when they approached him to do a kids cartoon for their channel? Well, whatever the case may be, in the end we got Invader Zim, which is a decidedly twisted and very dark cartoon. In fact, that's why it was cancelled originally. It was Nickelodeon gave it 2 seasons, one of 13 episodes, one of 14 episodes, and then cancelled it because they felt it was too dark for kids. It's like, what did you expect? You hired Jonan fucking Vasquez to do a cartoon for you. Of course it's dark. It also happens to be absolutely hilarious. It's the same kind of dark, twisted humor that you find in his comic books, just put into animated form, and without all the cursing, swearing, and extreme violence. So for those of you who aren't familiar with the show, essentially the plot goes something like this. There's an alien race out there called the Urkins, and they have an armada, the Urkin Armada, and they're hell-bent on conquering the entire universe. So they appoint commanders to go to individual planets and to ready those planets for invasion, basically to infiltrate the planets and ready them for the coming of the Armada. So when the Armada is just kind of working its way through the universe, taking over one planet at a time systematically, so they send off their commanders ahead to get those planets ready for invasion. Or sometimes they're able to actually take over the planet entirely single-handedly, because the Urkins are a pretty technologically advanced race, and they've got a lot of pretty kick-ass invasion-like technology at their disposal. Now, this is actually the second time they've tried to take over the universe, because the first time they tried to take over the universe, things got kind of screwed up. One of their commanders, a very enthusiastic Urkin by the name of Zim, took control of one of their battle robots and proceeded to lay waste to their home planet. He became so mad with power that he didn't realize they hadn't actually left their home planet yet. So he laid waste to their own planet and effectively thwarted their invasion plans before they'd even left. So there were some bad feelings towards Zim. The first one was called Operation Impending Doom. So where we come into the story is the start of Operation Impending Doom 2, where they're trying again to take over the universe. But they realize that if it's going to work this time, they've got to get rid of Zim. So they pull up the galactic charts, pick a planet at random, which of course happens to be Earth, and send Zim there. Now Earth isn't even on their invasion plans. They don't even care about Earth. They're off in the, they don't even know anything about Earth. So they figure it's just some backwater planet where they can just send Zim to get rid of him. So they send Zim off to Earth, and Zim, of course, thinks that he's one of the vanguard, basically the commanders going off to prepare Earth for invasion. So he takes it totally seriously. He has no clue that they're just sending them there to get rid of him. So he takes it totally seriously, and essentially it's the adventures of Zim trying to infiltrate society. He's very short, so he infiltrates a kid's school, and there's a kid there who actually is into alien invasion and such, and spots him right away and tries to alert everybody to the fact that he's an alien trying to invade them, but nobody believes him. Hilarious. And that's an ongoing thing. Basically, he's trying to destroy Zim, and Zim's trying to destroy him, and it's just this epic ongoing conflict. It's absolutely hilarious. So anyway, the long and the short of it is, it's the adventures of this completely inept alien trying to single-handedly take over Earth, and occasionally reporting back to his superiors, who just die laughing every time they see what he's doing and how he's trying to, and like okay Zim, keep up the good work. Yeah, you're doing the Urkin race proud. But really they just keep hoping like he'll screw up so majorly that he'll die or something, and just be completely out of their hair. But yeah, so that's the long and the short of it. It's absolutely hilarious. and has some of the best animation that I've actually ever seen in a Nickelodeon cartoon. I mean, most of it is traditional hand-drawn animation, but there is a lot of computer animation in it as well, but done in the cel-shaded style, so it actually looks like it's hand-drawn. So things like the anytime there's like really heavy, like some big complicated mechanical device of some kind, or the Urkin Armada itself is all CG and such, but it looks hand-drawn. So that's essentially the premise of the show in a nutshell, and it's absolutely hilarious. The whole series ran for 27 episodes. There were plans to do 13 more, and that would be it for the series. It was intended to be a 3-season story arc, and they got as far as season 2, and Nickelodeon pulled the plug. So essentially, if Nickelodeon hadn't pulled the plug, we would have the full 40-episode saga of Invader Zim to enjoy. Instead, it cuts off at 27. Now, the thing that's really frustrating as a Zim fan, and I'm sure a lot of other Zim fans out there will agree with me, is the DVDs sold phenomenally well. They were released not once, not twice, but thrice. 3 times! They were released as individual volumes, then they were released again as a complete series set with an additional bonus disc that you could only get in the set, but if you had bought the 3 previous volumes, you could just get the box with the bonus disc. So that was awesome. That was great that they did that. And then a couple years after that, they released a slim version of the package with the 3 volumes at a lower price. You could usually find it for around 20 bucks. Nowadays, all of those are out of print, so you'll be lucky if you can find the complete series set for around 70 or 80. So this set actually goes for a pretty penny. Whether it's just the box with the bonus disc or the complete set with all 3 volumes plus the bonus disc, you'd be expecting to pay at least $100 for it. It's highly sought after as a collector's item now for fans, because I think it's been out of print for a few years now, actually. One other DVD release that they had was just a small one. Was they put out the first 2 episodes as mini discs. So you could actually, if you just wanted a taste of the show, you could actually get these mini discs for, $2 or $3 a piece, and just check out a couple of single episodes to see if you like it and want to commit to the whole series. Or, if you're just an Invader Zim completist, you can get those for your collection as well. Those ones you can still find fairly cheap, because they're only 1 episode each. They're basically little 3-inch mini discs. They're not even like full CD or like full DVD sized. So it seems that I've rambled a lot. What else is new, right? But that's just because I love Invader Zim so much, and it's so frustrating that, we had these 2 seasons of sheer brilliance, and it just never continued. Oh, actually, what I was going to say when I got kind of sidetracked about the different DVD releases, in addition to that, while it was being released on DVD, there was also a whole line of action figures and dioramas and toys that you could get based on the show. And they did 2 series of them. And they were producing them for a couple of years, and this is long after the show was canceled. So it kind of begs the question. It's like, all right, well, Nickelodeon, come on. This show has obviously got a huge fan following. You're obviously making a butt ton of cash off of it. Why the hell won't you greenlight the last 13 episodes and make even more money? The fans will be happy. You'll be happy because you'll be making money. And it's just like, yeah, it's like they cancel the show, then they merchandise the hell out of it, make all this money, but still won't finish the show. Well, I think part of the reason for that is if you listen to the commentaries on the DVD set, which are just excellent, actually, very entertaining and informative, it seems to me that Jonan Vasquez has said in no uncertain terms that he is done dealing with TV networks and studios and whatnot with regards to them dictating what he can or can't do. I mean, bear in mind, this is a guy who basically came out of nowhere with a hit comic book, made it really big, and built his own comic book company out of it. I mean, he's the guy who created Slave Labor Graphics, which has done a lot of really good independent comic books and given a lot of independent artists and writers a chance over the years. And this is a guy who's used to doing his own thing, his own way. So I can only imagine how frustrating it must have been with Nickelodeon basically pulling back the reins all the time and telling him what he could or couldn't do. So Oh well. So this could very well be the only time we ever see anything by Jonan Vasquez in animated form, unless he pulls together an effort to do some kind of independent movie or TV show or something. We can always hope. We can always hope. Because the job they did on Zim was just fantastic. I mean, even working around the chokehold of Nickelodeon. When you watch it, it's pretty apparent that they were trying to push the envelope as much as they could as far as acceptable content in a kids show. Some of the stories are quite dark, quite intense, and quite scary. If I was a little kid watching this, I would be scared shitless in some of these episodes. There's some really cool stuff, which, as an adult is just pure entertainment. So anyway, I've rambled way too much in this first part, and we haven't even opened up the DVD set yet. So why don't we do that in part 2? And don't worry, because we're on the new schedule, I'm going to post part 2 right away. So you're not going to have to wait like a week for me to post part 2. No. So if you're watching this, part 2 is already up, or it's in the process of being uploaded. Well, of course, if you're watching this like 6 months down the road, it's long since been posted. So see you in part 2, and we'll actually jump into the DVD set proper. Until then, thanks for watching, and sayonara.